Hey guys, I'm here with Jimmy Tyrone, our Director of Instruction at Catanset, and we're going to talk about wedges, grooves, and how they affect spin. Jimmy's got two wedges in his hands. One is an old Cleveland sand wedge with worn out grooves, and one is a new Titleist SM6 wedge with perfect grooves. So Jimmy, tell me a little bit about how old worn out grooves affect spin as far as golf shots go.
Yeah, so basically when you're hitting a wedge or any type of shot with old grooves, the spin is going to be affected. That's the most important thing. And when that happens, you're not going to have any control around the greens. So for instance, if you hit a shot with a worn groove, you don't really know what it's going to do off the face. It might spin, it might not. If you have a really good, fresh set of grooves, you know what you're going to get out of it. So you're going to get a lot of spin, and you're also going to get a lot of control, which everybody wants around the greens.
So the telltale signs of a groove that has too much wear on it, your shot's going to fly higher, it's going to spin less, and it's going to roll out more once it gets on the green. So Jimmy, how many rounds of golf do you think you can get out of a new wedge?
Yeah, well this wedge is about 10 years old, so probably got about 1,000 rounds of golf, which we don't want. But I would say the average round, or average number of rounds that a wedge should get, 75 and 100 would be the pretty standard for the use of a wedge.
Titleist did some research and came up with the fact that after about 125 rounds with the same wedge, your golf ball will roll out an additional 15 feet once it hits the green. That's pretty significant.
Okay.
Another issue with worn out grooves is the ball's not going to carry as far. Remember, we need spin to keep the ball in the air. So the less spin the ball has, the less distance it will carry in the air on your longer shots with wedges. So Jimmy, before we go outside and hit some of these on our TrackMan, our new launch monitor, can you get a little closer to the camera and show everybody watching here the difference between a groove that's worn out and a groove that's new, so everybody can kind of evaluate their own wedges and see where they stand?
Yeah, definitely, Pat. So this wedge right here, it's very old. If you look at the grooves, they're almost black. So what happens is a lot of rust, a lot of wear and tear on this is definitely going to affect spin and how the ball launches. And if you look at the sole of the club, right where it says Cleveland, there's a big rust mark there, which is not good. So if your wedge looks anything like this, I would definitely suggest getting a new wedge. And over here we have our Titleist SM6, same 56-degree wedge, and notice that the grooves are much fresher. So again, you're going to get a lot of spin, more control, and if you look at the sole of the club, it's brand new. So you're going to get a lot more consistency and a lot more control having a new wedge compared to an old one.
Great, Jimmy, thanks. So before we go outside to hit some shots, for all of you at home watching, if you have an old wedge that's worn out, come and see us for a wedge fitting. We can get you on our TrackMan and show you the difference a new wedge will make for your game, and hopefully lower your scores. So you ready to go outside and hit some?
Let's do this.
All right, let's go. Guys, now we're heading out to the range with Jimmy. He's going to hit a few shots for us here on TrackMan, and we're going to look at spin numbers and carry distance numbers with wedges. First shot here is with the old wedge, the Cleveland with the worn out grooves. Notice down here at the bottom of the screen, spin rate is way down with this wedge, 2,400 RPM, which isn't really going to stop the ball very quickly on the green. So let's take a look at Jimmy hitting this shot here. Again, Jimmy is an excellent player, so he's pretty consistent, especially from 35, 40 yards. He's not going to do much different with this swing. So as you see, pretty solid contact. Ball carries just over 30 yards, and the spin rate's awfully low. That ball is not going to stop that quickly on the green. So now we'll move over to a shot with the new wedge, with clean grooves, the new Titleist wedge. And immediately you notice that Jimmy's spin rate jumps up to 6,300 RPM. That's pretty significant. That golf ball is going to stop more quickly on the green and get closer to his target. So lesson learned here is check your grooves, make sure that you have clean, new grooves with your wedges, and you'll see your performance around the greens improve for sure. Come on in and see us if you want to chat about any details regarding your wedges, get fit for new ones, or have us take a look at your grooves and see if they're worn out. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you here at the club soon.